In the red centre of the Australian outback, you were born. You start off hairless, blind and deaf after popping out of your mother's cloaca, located at the base of her tail. Around the size of a jelly bean, your first task in life is the size equivalent of rock climbing up a cliff as you climb past the mother's pouch to get to her milk. Grabbing at her fur with your tiny nubs, you begin your first challenge in life. Why do you have to participate in this cruel and unusual punishment before you can even see? What sixth sense of humour did your creator have to make you this way? What's that? You've already gotten to the milk? Congratulations! You can now drink all the nutrients you want. Unbeknownst to you, your mother is regulating the amount of fat contained in her milk as she feeds you and your older sister who has already grown to become a joey outside the pouch. You stay in the pouch for 34 weeks. I wonder what you're doing in there. By now, you've finally developed fur and are starting to look like an actual kangaroo rather than whatever the heck that is. Your mother's pouch, which has been your everything up until now, is beginning to get tighter and tighter, and as a result, a sudden urge to explore the outside world takes hold of you. So you stick your head out. A vast plain of arid land extends from all around, and countless other red kangaroos of various sizes surround you. Your family, called a mob, number over 60, with one male buck named the Alpha responsible for the entire group's safety. There he is, basking in the sunlight with that chill expression. That's your dad, by the way. What's that? The Alpha seems to have noticed something. Oh look, there's a dingo hidden in the bushes. As his ears prick up, he checks the area to see if there are any other enemies. This will influence whether he chooses to evacuate the mob or fight. The Alpha sees no other dingoes. This one must be a scout. The Alpha prepares his boxing pose as the dingo leaps out of the bushes. And in just one shot, the battle is already over. Your dad's gigantic bodybuilder arms let out a massive punch right into the dingo's nose. He had no chance. In the aftermath of the battle, you and all the other male kangaroos just look in amazement. That's what it means to be the Alpha. Sometime later, it seems a challenger has arrived, wanting to claim the Alpha spot from your father. This adult buck is standing at a whopping 8 feet tall and his fur is bright red, adapted for the harsh outback sun. Let's call him Big Red. Big Red is slightly taller than your father, and also at the prime of his life, giving him a slight advantage. However, what your father lacks in youth, he has ample of an experience. The fight takes off, initiated by a 1-2 punch from the challenger, but your dad doesn't allow him enough wind-up to deliver a solid blow. One rule of thumb in a kangaroo fight is that the one who kicks the most is the weakest. Kinda like dogs that are all bark and no bite, when they have to resort to a bunch of kicking, you know that means that they're getting exhausted. You can see Big Red is beginning to tire. His kicks just swinging into the air, failing to actually hit a target. The Alpha, wise with experience, doesn't miss his opportunity to land his own kick. Big Red collapses. The Alpha retains his throne. Now a joey that's too big for his mother's pouch, there you are, standing beside her, celebrating with the rest of them at your dad's win. One day, you might become an Alpha, just like him. With all of the chutzpah of a bratty kid, you start play fighting with the other joeys, imitating your dad's moves. At least, what you can imitate of him. Your sister, now a mature female, is suddenly popular with the males. Even Big Red's vying for her attention, but she doesn't deal with losers. Better luck next time, big guy. You even play fight with your mother, you little rascal, who helps train you develop into an adult. Little do you know, she's also bringing to term a little sibling for you. It only takes 3 months for a kangaroo to bring a child to term, although, because of the dry season limiting the amount of grass she could eat, your mother decided to pause the development of the baby in her womb. This is called embryonic diapause, a pretty nifty trick. One night, you lay beside your mother, drifting off into sleep. What's that? You look around. It was your father, booming his legs on the ground to wake up the mob. He spotted something. Something bad. From the distant bushes, countless beady eyes glare at you and your family. Realizing they've been spotted, the intruders leap out of the bushes. A pack of bloodthirsty dingoes charge at the mob. Panic ensues as everybody gets aroused. Your mother goads you and your sister to run away. The Alpha, Big Red, and the other males attempt to fight, giving time for the children to escape. You and your sister hop off into the distance with the other joeys and females. You hope that your father made it out safe. The next morning, the mob returns to where the fight occurred, only to see a terrible sight. The Alpha's carcass lay on the ground. Big Red and the other males only stand there in silence, their gaze fixed into the red sand. The only way they could have survived without your father is if they abandoned your father after you left. A lot of emotions are swaying into your mind, but right now, all you can do is cuddle your mother, who is devastated and mourning. The trauma was too much for her. All of her sisters and relatives gather around to comfort her. but even that isn't enough to console her. Kangaroos are a matriarchal society. Although the male takes the alpha role as the protector, once all males reach maturity at around 4 years, it's their job to leave the mob that they were born into to find another one. What this means though, is that in any given mob, from the great-grandmothers to the grandmothers to the daughters, all of them have deep familial bonds connecting them to one another. After your dad's passing, Big Red became the new alpha. As the biggest buck by far, no one else wanted to challenge him. But you still remember his cowardice that led to your father's death. You want revenge, so you bide your time, sparring with the smaller males to get stronger. The drought season finally hits, causing the grass around you to dry out. It's time for the mob to travel cross country. You can move up to 43 miles per hour at full speed, but due to the harsh Australian weather, you're gonna have to settle for around 12, and only travel at the cool hours of the day. As the mob travels across the desert, their deer-like snouts carefully search for moisture in the air. Unfortunately, you aren't able to find a lake, but luckily, you do find green grasslands, which is pretty much good enough since kangaroos are able to survive for several days on only grass, although this does mean you have to spend 8 hours of your day eating. Now that you've all settled down, the alpha, Big Red, suddenly gets the urge to have babies, so he takes your sister and all the other female kangaroos that catch his attention. This understandably annoys you, but you're still not fully matured and can't possibly beat him in a fight, so all you can do is train. 2 more years go by, you finally reach maturity at the age of 4, standing at 6 feet tall. It's time to challenge Big Red to a fight. He's getting up there in age, but he's still got enough strength to keep his alpha throne. All the other male kangaroos hype you up, all your brothers in arms who helped train you during those terrible days. You leap in for a kick, only to be swiftly defeated. He's like 2 feet taller than you and completely jacked. What are you expecting? I know you hate to quit on a loss, but unfortunately, it's time for you to leave the mob to find another one without your genetic lineage. Remember, males can't be the alpha of the mob that they're born into. If you were female, you would stay with the mob to bear children to the other migrant kangaroos that flex to get your attention. Now you're alone, living off the land as a hermit, exploring the desert in search for another mob to join. What's that? Oh, looks like there's some emus chilling near a water source. They won't mind you chilling there with them. As fellow herbivores, you guys can relax with each other. Oh no, something must have startled the emus. Must have been terrifying to make them run away like that. You turn to take a look, only for dread to cover your face. A pack of dingoes. Quick, hop into the water, you'll be safer there. Dingoes took your dad away, so understandably you'd be shaken up, thinking that you'll be next. But hold on, these dingoes look like they're struggling with something. Oh, what's the matter? Is the water too deep for you? Takes a second for the neurons to activate in your tiny marsupial brain. You can fight back. You start attacking, capturing a dingo and locking its neck into a chokehold. Its menacing growl now turned into a weak pout as it struggled to keep its head above the water. The other dingoes can only look in horror as they watch you drown their friend. The bubbles in the water slowly disperse as the flailing dies down. You release the dingo's lifeless body. Naturally, they're all terrified after seeing what you just did, so they run away. That was awesome. Who knew you had that in you? Give yourself a pat on the back. After some more time passes, here you are now, in your peak physique as a buck. And now, you've just spotted a new mob in the distance, grazing the grassland. As a migrant, your first task is to scout the mob to find the alpha. Oh, there he is, standing as tall as you at 8 foot. But unlike you, he is covered in scars from years of battles. You feel intimidated. But let's not forget, you're also in your prime with your own battle experience. You set the stage as a challenger. The alpha starts off with some fast jabs, but you're able to block them. This might be doable. As you slip back into consciousness, you notice that you've been defeated. Unfortunately, your inexperience got the better of you, and the alpha managed to land a cheap shot in your family jewels. But you don't let this get to you. Even in defeat, you see a path to victory. It's time to recover, big guy. Go eat some grass. As you graze, you notice a doe attracting your attention. A true beauty sweeping you right off your feet. But unfortunately, it looks like the alpha's bag dibs on her. Since you just got your butt kicked, now's not the time, bro. Just focus on recovering. Now you've got even more of a reason to win. 2 months go by. It's time to challenge the alpha again. The battle begins. It starts off with some 1-2 punches, and then quickly veers into eye gouging and attempting to kick the groin. This continues on until the devastating hits start coming in. A blast of 800 pounds of force comes right into your gut. This is what beat you last time, but you've learnt from then, so you start parrying. As the nauseating blows continue to land, you wait patiently for one chance. The alpha's beginning to get tired. He missed, and now he's wide open. There it is. He collapses, and now you have won. All the other kangaroos circle around you, standing in respect as they watch the king be dethroned. There's nothing you can't do now, except for hopping backwards, of course. Everybody acknowledges you as the new alpha, and your first task is to find your concubines and settle down. 5 months later, as the first joeys begin to pop their heads out of their mother's pouches, you see the season changing, the dawn of a new era. You watch over your mom, just like your father once did, the new alpha.